Hopefully the volume's okay. I've hit the start button. I didn't have my mic on and flipped it on. Let me make sure it's good here. See what we get in here this morning. All right. Never know what we're going to get in these. Oh, it restarted me. So then I guess I will start that over. Hey, everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. Just sitting here drinking my morning coffee. Getting sexy as hell as usual. It's going to be a squat day. Of course, I have a plumber out today. That busted pipe yet again. We get one little tiny freeze and pipes bust that were previously fixed last year by a really bad plumber. Did terrible work, by the way. Terrible work. So, all right. So, the problem we have in these, though, people who get in quick, they don't click those like buttons quick enough. It didn't get us into people's feeds, and then people say, it didn't come into my feed. It's like, well, all right. So, yeah, it's going to be squat today. I'm going to do low bar. I'm going to try to put the sleeves on. Like I said, now that I can get into a low bar position, even with the empty bar, we're in a good spot for the straight bar. So I feel like I can really push the heavy squats up. And I do like high bar. I want to be clear. This stuff comes up. People are like, have you said that the higher bar slightly better for quads? You said the sleeves may inhibit quad size. Yeah, all totally true. But I'm going to do other exercises to fill in the gaps. So people forget that. When we talk in the context of a single exercise, it's often the case of we're talking about if that's the only lift you're doing. That's never the only lift we're doing. All right. Then we talk overall development. The low bar squats. Or if you take the quads out of the equation, yeah, arguably a better exercise for putting muscle on you. But the quads will get more from a high bar squat, and it just has to do with knee angles, right? But you can always do machines afterwards. And that's the other thing people forget. These differences go away sometimes. When we start combining a second exercise in, some of the concerns of a primary go away, especially if the second exercise emphasizes the weak link. Okay, right? Everybody get that? It's like we'll talk about a bench press not being great for the triceps because it doesn't build a long head, but extensions do. So you do an extension after you bench press, right? It's pretty straightforward. Or anything that builds the long head, even a pullover in theory. So again, there's nuance to these things, right? And people don't get that. They think in black and white, and they don't understand that when you state something in isolation, it's not even a contradiction later. It's like it's ludicrous the way people think. Again, it's a lack of the ability to think stuff through. This is why I tell people they need coaches. Quite frankly, this comes up and people are like, well, I know a little bit about training. Why would I need a coach? I'm like, because people ask questions like that, it lets me know they just simply don't grasp the bigger picture. They probably can't write a great program for themselves. If when you hear someone say that a certain type of squat will build less quad than another type, then they do the type that does less, and then you think that they're losing gains for it, even though they're doing other quad exercises. See what I mean? Like if that's the way someone thinks, they really shouldn't be writing their own programs at all. They have no business writing their own programs. It's not going to be ideal. And this is a slow, probably because I'm earlier than usual. I'm up a hair earlier than a lot of mornings. So these run a little slower when that happens. But yeah, so we benched twice this week. And I'm going to have to, again, watch that closely. I know for a fact it's worked for me in the past. But as I always point out, we need caution there. Like people who can't bench with perfect form, I'll tell you right now, that benching twice a week is going to be a problem. You have a strength base. All right. So this is the other thing when I talk about the frequencies. I definitely don't want to squat or deadlift twice a week. But even with something like a chest press, yeah, you can pull it off. You pull off twice a week and recover. But you better know what you're doing with your technique. You better have your fatigue management good. So people who bench in a way to where if your shoulders ever get inflamed, you probably don't have your benching dialed in enough to do higher frequencies like a double. Again, once we're talking at more advanced lifters, right? We're not talking about novice lifters. Novice lifters can train everything 3 times a week. Yeah, and they're just fine. And even then, I was a little reluctant to add that second bench day personally, just because of how much better my joints and stuff have felt. But it's like, let's not do anything else to aggravate it and keep it dialed in. And if I need to, rotate some movements. Man, this is definitely one of the slower ones. These are so strange on how many people we get in. It's unpredictable. Right? What you gonna do? But if it doesn't pick up soon, I can just go squat. A little more caffeinated. Get fully caffeinated and go do that. It's just that on days like this when I'm only doing 2 of the lives because it's cold and I may not do the cardio, may or may not. I just don't like it when they don't get views because it's like I'm missing opportunity. It kind of sucks because the other day I had a cardio and I really wanted to get in and get food, and I actually had one that was getting ridiculous views in the middle of it. But I needed to go eat. What do you do? I think it's because I'm up too early. The regulars are not expecting it. You get a lot of people on the West Coast too. They're still asleep. So any of my people along the West Coast, they're all still sleeping probably. Or people like to catch these when they're at work, I've noticed. Right? Or on their way to the gym. So yeah, this is the deadest live I've had probably in a week or 2 breakfast chat or coffee chat, whatever we want to call them. I'm still waking up. This is my first cup. It's completely dead. But anyway, guess we'll see what happens. We just picked up to 6 people watching. Always funny, haters come in when one of these happen and then they'll clown on it, but then the next one will have 80 people in it. I think it's just timing. But I'm going to do these when I'm going to do them. Can't worry about all that. And some people got upset with the OnlyFans. Not really. A lot of people were fine. I had a couple people who were like, this is a dark path. I'm like, guys, it's just going to be tasteful nudes. I'm like, doing weird stuff. I'm not going to be doing weird stuff. But it'll give some of the haters an outlet to focus on instead of the other stuff. Because at the end of the day, that's really what my true haters, it's really about. Like, they've made it very clear. Like, everyone who really, really hates me absolutely has made it clear with the things they make that it's about their kinks towards me. And you can see it in their memes, you can see it in their names, you can see it in their posts. Like, that's really what it's about. So give them a paid outlet. Plus, in addition to other people who just genuinely want to see it. Pretty loyal MILF following, but I'm gay dudes who follow me. It's all good. Right? It's all good. I think people get misconceptions with that and they don't realize. I've seen the extremes in the lifting world with those things. That's a whole other topic, isn't it? There's a woman I follow on Instagram, totally beautiful, totally strong lifter. I'm a younger girl, like 30, late 20s. She has an OnlyFans, and she explicitly states in it she does not do nudes. There's no nudes on there. It's like, all right. She's like, but it is for, exclusive content. That was interesting. And that's the route she chose to go. And you have all the way to the extremes, like what Vegan Gains does. Those are the 2 polar extremes there. I think people are missing that. Whereas in Vegan Gains does the really hardcore, weird stuff. And I guess it's not that weird if you're into it. But I mean, it is fairly extreme for you to be doing as a public figure on camera. It's just, again, fascinating. I don't get why the people who accuse me of these things don't just go harp on him. It's like he literally does the things they want to pretend that I do. It's rather weird. Like, well, go focus on him since you know for a fact he does. You don't have to fabricate stories. You can just go watch it. What's up, Cliff? Finally, man, we're 10 minutes in the first time somebody posted in this. Like, I think yesterday and the day before, I had a ton of people. Like, it was just popping. You're like literally the first comment. No likes, and we're 10 minutes into my coffee chat. It's probably doing it too early. But I can't be sleeping that late all the time, especially as the summer gets here. All right, I'm going to have to be up a little earlier. Otherwise, I'm out there training at 100 degrees. You know, I tend to look better though, like veins and cut. My skin's way tighter when it's hot outside when I'm in the heat. How many pounds of muscle you estimate you've gained? I don't know. Hey, Cliff, I literally have no idea. I'm going to guess a couple. I mean, are we talking pounds or ounces? Dude, I'm an advanced lifter. So, I mean, if I were to compare how I look now versus the screenshots, it's a pound lighter 13 months ago. I don't know. I mean, my legs are bigger. I've gained muscle in my legs this year, though, so I don't know how to compare 2024. But in that year, I'm going to guess maybe 2 to 3 pounds, possibly, which really for me is a lot, right? At this point in the game, I mean, that's a lot. Right? There was obviously a little bit of help there. Magnus, are weighted pull-ups in the 5 to 8 rep range resets effective for upper back development? Would there be any benefits to seeing credit? Two separate questions, Magnus. Not for the upper back. They're not optimal for upper back. I mean, we don't do pull-ups as an ideal upper back exercise. Fair? Phenomenal middle back exercise, but a row will technically always build your upper back more. So if you're really shooting for upper back, a wider grip barbell row, or it doesn't have to be that wide grip, underhand grips, okay. Dumbbell rows, one arm dumbbell rows, rowed up to your armpit or your chest. Okay, because upper back is going to be like your mid traps, possibly upper traps, rhomboids, posterior deltoids, right? And a pull-up builds those, just maybe not quite as much as some of the rows will. And especially you get over to like the seal row with a slightly wider grip, it's easier to grip wider. Anything like that. The one-arm dumbbell row is phenomenal, right? And we don't rule out your deadlifts and stuff there too. Conventional deadlift. Conventional deadlift. And if you didn't want to do rows for some reason, deadlift, pull up, and a pullover probably give you a lot of, because keep in mind, pullovers work rear delts actually. Lots. But no, generally a row is going to be slightly better than a pull-up. But as far as the rep ranges, not necessarily. Right? I usually don't have most of my lifters. Once they're hitting 10 reps on a pull-up or a chin-up, it's time to add weight. Do you see a place on a lifting routine for the lat pull-down machine once someone is strong enough to do pull-ups? Very, very rarely, Cliff. And I'm not saying never. Some people just need the fatigue, the metabolic fatigue. All right, but here's what you're not going to like. Would I have a drug-free lifter, someone on no drugs, or even just on TRT, right? Would I have them do a lat pull down if they're strong enough to do weighted pull-ups? Probably almost never. So we need a context. If I got a guy blasting a gram a test who would benefit and need the extra pump volume and might benefit from it, yeah, okay. Guy on no drugs, a guy on TRT who can crank out 12 pull-ups, I am never going to program lat pull downs for them. I just don't need the extra metabolic fatigue, the extra volume of that nature. It's just not necessary. I'd argue probably not even beneficial. Right? They go do some cardio at that point. Because again, we're just back over to those intermediate fibers, which are not really growing. They're not growing once you've been training 4 or 5 years drug-free. When you're just chasing metabolic fatigue like that. So, it's context dependent. So do you see why we can't be dogmatic with certain things? People will say, well, you've said this isn't helpful, but then this guy's doing it. I'm like, yeah, he's on a gram a test though. Obviously, there's going to be some differences in training volumes and fatigue as drug doses go up if you're trying to maximize the use of the drugs. But a drug-free lifter, I'm probably never going to do that. And say probably. And that word probably gives me an out. There might be a case or two. There'll be the exception, though, not the norm. Good morning, Emma. Man, we're going to do some heavy squats today. I don't even know what I'm going to get. I got to get used to the sleeves again. You're a fan of cable pullovers for lats? I've never done a cable pullover in my life. I don't even know if I've ever seen a cable pullover. Why not just use a weight? Or are you talking about pull downs? I mean, maybe in some cases. But I mean, we could just do a pullover in that case also. Right. Also very limited on that. I mean, you're really limited on that exercise in terms of loading potential. Whereas with a pullover, you're not, right? You have to deal with stabilizing your body weight if you try to go really heavy on it. And it's not like we don't hit big weights real quick on pullovers if you're strong. Right? So have you ever taken, Joe, I'm not going to discuss that because I can't prove it, and my trolls and haters have made a big deal about it. Because I have discussed that, and I've discussed what my childhood Stanford Benet came back as, and it's turned into a meme, and it's literal nonstop hate over it. So I would rather not discuss it. So yes, I do know exactly what I scored on a Stanford Benet. But every time I say it, my trolls flip out, and it turns into memes and hate. So I would just rather not mention it if it's all the same to you. Because people think you're lying and you're bragging, and it's not, just rather not. I do seal rows or bumper plates on a rubber tile floor. Is banging of the weights on the floor during the negative? Why are you banging the weights? Hey, Chris Art, have you noticed that I do seal rows with steel plates just fine, and they don't bang the floor? And I do 100 kilos for rep work. Why are you banging the floor? Yeah, it's bad for your joints. It's bad for the floor. You're also losing some of the benefit of the movement. You're not doing a pen lay rodeo. You're doing a strict movement. Why are you banging the floor? You need to get the most out of the weight. Don't let the weight get the most out of you. Hey, Cliff, I've not coached anyone on GLPs, so I don't have a strategy yet. I wouldn't have a problem with it. I mean, I'd work around it. For the people I work with, though, they're generally probably not necessary. You know, we just eat clean and we train hard. But I mean, in theory, if I had a morbidly obese client who wanted to do them, I mean, I would just train them normal. I would have them focus on eating lots of protein and keep their training dialed in now. My biggest concern would be lack of protein, especially with the appetite suppression. And then we'll have muscle loss. And this is a real problem. This is a real problem. Right. Wish they had something without the blood sugar and delayed gastric emptying, just appetite suppress effects. We have stuff like that, John. It's called just protein overfeed. It's actually cheaper than a GLP to just eat 400 grams of protein a day. Again, you're not a 400-pound morbidly obese person. You're you're a lifter who works out. So if you wanted to get, like, there's no need for this. Like, all you would have to do to get the appetite suppression and the thermic effects you want is to just eat 400 grams of protein every day. Force feed 200 grams of protein with your breakfast to start. And I think people forget about these strategies. You're a lifter. So if you can afford a GLP, you can afford that much protein. Most people can't. It's too expensive. But look at what you're paying for a GLP, right? Do you think protein bars are a decent swap out instead of candy bar? No, absolutely not. They're still garbage for the most part. Why don't you just eat something that has no calories and no extra junk? You can eat some sugar-free Jello and a diet soda if you have a sugar craving. No, I think the protein bar thing is a complete marketing scam. It's just garbage. And I get it if you're in an airport. That's the only time I've ever messed with them. I'm in an airport, and I need to get protein in. I've eaten like 100 grams of protein bars, but they're going to mess your stomach up too. No, protein bars are a product that never needed to exist. It's a supplement nonsense scam. It's just highly refined junk with stuff in it you still don't want. So how about you just don't eat candy or a protein bar? I mean, this stuff isn't difficult, And I'm saying this as someone with an insane appetite who's been over 300 pounds and younger. Why do you guys need this at all? Why can't you eat a piece of fruit? Why can't you drink a Diet Coke? I mean, this is not complicated, guys. Like, if you just pretend these foods don't exist, you'll be better off. You'd be a lot better off. My opinion, says me. Or again, you have a craving, force feed some protein. Notice that this is my solution to a lot of problems. To which people go, it can't be that simple. We can't just force feed protein every time we have a bench coming. We can't just force feed protein to control appetite. Yeah, you can. You can totally do that for the rest of your life. You can absolutely do that. Low bar. Joe, low bar with sleeves today, homie. Yep. Of course, my garage is a bit disarrayed. Fortunately, I don't have to bench today. I'm squatting because I've got the washer pulled out. This plumber's got to fix the wall. Again. He dealing with that nonsense. All right. Not even my fault in any way. Everything was set up. It was shoddy work last time. Yep. So, but yeah, that's the plan, Joe. Low bar with some sleeves on. See what we can get in and do. I think I'm gonna throw squat shoes on too. I might. I'm really thinking about it. I may just start with the sleeves though. But if I'm gonna mess with the squat shoes at all, I probably should put them on because it's gonna change my stance later. All right. How heavy do you think you will take your incline benching? I've already said I want a 315. I did 275 easy. I could have got that for a double yesterday. I've done a double before. Ideally, I'd like to get work sets with 275. I'd like to come into where my work sets are like 275 for multiple sets. I'd like to get my max to at least 315, so 3 plates. I think that'll really get my chest where I want it to be. So I got all the client stuff popping up. Should need to be watching for the plumber stuff. They're not sending anything. I don't even know what time they're going to show up yet. I'll have my squatting done by then now. All right, guys, this one's pretty slow this morning, so I'm going to go ahead and wind this down, get ready to finish up my day. We will get a live stream tonight, though, so I hope it's been informative. I love all you guys and gals, and I'll talk to you next time. John, what makes you think I was trolling? I was 100% serious. All right, but I'm going to wind this down.